Okay, you guys want to hit your, okay, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. All right, I'm going to go ahead and call to order this regular meeting of the Killingly Inland Wetlands and Watercourse Commission. And we're getting all kinds of, I don't know which of us that is.
Yeah.
Is it because you're usually a floating head on there?
Maybe, yeah. Maybe.
All right. First item would be the roll call. Karina, go ahead. Yeah,
Sandy Eggers.
here.
Ronnie Galton.
Here.
Paul Archer.
Here.
Rainey Legault.
Here.
Karina Torrey present. And
Amy Sterling's here as well.
Yep. Chris McDonald's absent with notification.
Okay, so actually, Amy, you cannot participate during part of the hearing, and since you can, you would be the voting member during that in Chris's place. Okay. First item would be adoption of the minutes of the July 6, 2026 regular meeting.
Motion to adopt the minutes as presented.
I actually have a quick question. The minutes seem to identify like there was only a handful of people in the audience. I know I was remote, but given what we have tonight, wouldn't there have been more then? No? Okay, I'm just asking.
I don't think there was last month. You know what, it was 4th of July week.
Okay.
There was less in attendance than
Okay.
average
Yeah.
last month, for
Yep.
sure. Yep.
Okay, just wanted to ask a question.
Yep.
that's all.
All right. Any other questions on the minutes? Okay, we do have a motion and a second to adopt the minutes of the July 6, 2026 regular meeting. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? No one, I don't think we need a roll call on that one, Jonathan, so we'll just let that go. Okay, minutes are adopted, and we'll move on to citizens' participation. Just so we let everyone know, nothing can be brought up at all this evening on anything potential on Westcott Road. That cannot be brought up at all at this point.
Particularly the appeal. If you want to talk about the application, that's okay, the new application. But anything in regard to pending litigation, we're not
cannot.
discussing that tonight.
And also anything with Old Killingly Pond. Al, we're gonna hold off on anything with just the pond and have you guys included as part of the regular agenda item on that. Okay,
Nothing? Can you hear me?
yep, go for it.
Okay, so I'm not talking about, just talking about the land up on Westcott Road. I'm not talking about any appeal or anything like that. I'm talking
Okay.
about what's there and what's going on. The proposed Husky Distribution Center is located at the headwaters of several important subbasins, making it the site far more significant than it may first appear. Though portions of the project are outside the mapped Hopkins Wellfield Aquifer Protection Area, water does not stop at map lines. Rainfall and stormwater follow the natural landscape. Part of the site drains into Mashantuck Brook, which flows into the Whetstone Brook, and ultimately contributes to the Hopkins Wellfield Aquifer Protection Area, an important public drinking water resource. Other portions of the site drain west into Davis Brook, then into the 5 Mile River, the Quinnebog River, and eventually the Thames River watershed. These waters support downstream groundwater resources, including Brooklyn and Plainfield stratified drift aquifers. The site also contains headwaters associated with the Fall Brook drainage, demonstrating that this project lies within a network of interconnected watersheds. Because this is a headwater area, any pollutants, including sediment, road salt, petroleum products, heavy metals, or PFAS, have the potential to be transported downstream, affecting wetlands, streams, groundwater recharge areas, and public water supplies. The Connecticut Inland Wetlands and Watercourses Act recognizes the importance of protecting these resources. Under Connecticut General Statutes 22A-41, the Inland Wetlands Commission must consider the environmental impacts of a proposed activity, including its effect on wetlands, watercourses, and feasible and prudent alternatives. Connecticut's General Statutes 22A-42 gives municipal inland wetlands the authority to regulate activities that may adversely affect wetlands and watercourses. In addition, Connecticut's Aquifer Protection Area laws recognize the need to protect groundwater and public water supplies from contamination. These laws exist because once a aquifer is contaminated, cleanup is often extremely difficult, costly, and sometimes impossible. My concern is not simply whether the project is inside a mapped aquifer area. The real question is whether the activities at this headwater location could affect downstream waters, wetlands, groundwater recharge, and public water resources over time. I respectfully ask the Commission to consider the entire watershed system, not just property boundaries or map lines, and to ensure that the long-term protection of our water resources remains the highest priority. Thank you for your time and consideration. So I don't think I went over the line there on that one.
Oh, no, but I'm sure we're
thank
going to
you.
hear from you later.
Oh, yeah, definitely.
Okay.
Thank you.
I'm sure you'll be here for that, without a doubt. Anyone else?
Ed Grandelski, Upper Maple Street. I have a comment on application 26-1627, the 647 Putnam Pike subdivision.
Yep.
There's a wetlands crossing and an easement in this subdivision plan. Is there any language that who has to the furthest person in, from what I can see, has an easement or has to cross a wetlands water crossing on someone else's property? Is there language somewhere?
Was that fairly recently?
No, probably 2017-ish,
Oh, really?
something like that. Yeah.
Okay.
Well, that's a civil issue. Sorry.
Hi
Hi,
there.
and I have no cane, and I was able to get up, so we have to hold more meetings.
It's
I'm
beach
getting-
vacation time, though, so don't fall again.
Okay, I did go on vacation, and Pam was very concerned, and I didn't fall. I'm Charles Ferlin. I live at 86 Knox Avenue with my wife Pamela, my poodle Alfie, and my well, and that's why I'm so concerned about this project. Now, I may not have to read this. I'm not sure if you have to hold a public hearing for the new application or not.
I believe we're going to,
Okay.
in all likelihood.
I'll just briefly summarize this, and I'll leave. I have copies for the commission and for the records.
Perfect.
The, basically, in Attorney Cody's letter to the commission, June 1st, he talks about something that hadn't been disclosed before, significant number of drains within the building. And also before the previous hearing, of course, it's hard to unring a bell, but this is a new plain sheet of paper now. None of that testimony or evidence is in the record. They've added another 200,000 gallon firefighting tank. And again, that should be, your expert should look at that to see what impact it will have, especially with those drains. Where does the water go? Does it go through the leaching field and affects Dr. Carlson's 2 ponds? Those are information that you need to know. Also, which is dangerous for me, I almost fell out of my chair at the end of the last hearing on the previous application when the experts basically said that these filters will take care of everything. The only problem is that this, if we believe Attorney Cody's statement, that it wasn't at the April meeting that there was nobody proposed for this building. And then, of course, suddenly later on at another commission, it was disclosed, then it's impossible for the experts to have evaluated those filters, those, is it Guppy filter? Something like that, to evaluate it for the danger of fires within the yard. And what the heavy metals, the carcinogenic chemicals, the forever metals, forever chemicals. So that again, you need them to disclose the what. What's going to be in this warehouse? Is it going to be all industrial chemicals? Because Amazon is going that way? Or is it going to be residential? A number of residential products released under fire and so forth, forever chemicals, how are they going to handle that? And so, but you have experts, and I will say one thing, the applicant, when you asked about the fact that they had made no provision for the snow, came up with a solution. The applicant also lowered the height of the building, so I think you might be able to work things out with the applicant to upgrade what they're doing, because you only get one chance to get it right. And for those reasons, if you haven't decided, I urge you to have a public hearing on this application. And just one more fact, every time you held a public hearing on the previous application, there was a 1 million plus warehouse fire in the country. And though the latest fire at Gas City, Indiana, wouldn't count because they were able to control the fire, I'm afraid for the next 2 or 3 days. So I urge you to schedule a public meeting on this application because you only get one chance to get it right. Thank you.
So much. Okay, anyone else?
Michelle Murphy, 325 Breakneck Hill Road. On what Mr. Furlan said, are we going to have a public hearing? When do we find out, Sandy?
That'll be this evening. I believe we'll set one.
Okay, and based on significant impact, has to be based
Yeah,
on
we go-
significant
I
impact?
believe we're having a public.
Because in your ordinances, it says
Yeah.
you can't do it without that.
Just so that everyone knows, whenever an application comes in, the very first time it comes in, no action can be taken.
Just 6/10 of a mile long before it becomes a 395 southbound on-ramp. Between Guthrie and Broad Street, there's Reynolds, there's Killenly Street, and there's 1 or 2 other side streets. These people are going to be subjected to at least 200 tractor trailers a day going down Guthrie. Their property values are going to plummet. Everybody's property values in that area is going to plummet. And I mentioned before having Amazon put up a contingency fund to reimburse.
All of the associated activities, septics, wells, associated site work within 200 feet of the upland review area. Project includes 3,400 square foot of wetlands disturbance for. Define theirs.
About 10 new houses, and that would have required 3 separate wetland crossings. And so pretty quickly I took a look at that and I said, frankly, I don't think that would ever get approved. So you can see, what the applicants were originally hoping to do was a significantly larger project. And then the other big alternative that we looked at, instead of using the existing driveway, is to come straight off the road and go straight, again, across the wetlands into that little knoll of upland. And so I looked at that. I think it would require more wetland disturbance. Our current application, we have about 3,400 square feet of wetland disturbance. With this concept, we have about 3,800 square feet of wetland disturbance. The linear distance is less, but because it drops off quite steeply at the road, in order to meet the DOT standards of 3% slope for 50 feet, there would be quite a bit of fill. And so to make that work with DOT, we'd have to bring the grade way up and then slope down into the wetlands. And so this is one of the things that we considered and rejected, again, in lieu of our current application. The other big thing I'll touch on is at previous meetings we talked about wetland mitigation, again, to offset the impacts of the driveway that we're proposing. Originally, I had proposed some wetland mitigation near the houses. Exactly. Thank you, Jonathan. I guess that would be to the southwest of the proposed houses. It's a tight site. There's not a lot of upland there. And so we had a lot of discussions with my soil scientist, Joe Thoreau, and we decided, not to take away any upland area from the area around the houses. And so what we're proposing now If we could go down to the next sheet, please. Yes, thank you, sir. I made a fourth sheet specifically for wetland mitigation. And so this area is to the southwest of the proposed construction. There is a significant amount of debris in that area. I think it was an unofficial landfill, basically, by previous owners. I think there's an old dishwasher back there. There's tires, bottles, cans, all kinds of stuff. And so what we're proposing to do is clean up that, take out all the garbage, and then do a small amount of excavation to create some wetlands. And again, about 1-to-1, I'm proposing to create just about the same amount of wetlands that we would be filling. And what else? So I have a bunch of notes here, sequences of construction, some other notes about the wetland mitigation plan. The basic idea, again, is to pull out the garbage and do a little bit of excavation to create some new wetlands. A couple, I think, important things to touch on. The first one is we will have a surveyor stake everything out before there's any work done, just to make sure that the limits of construction are very clear. The other big thing I think that is important is we do have monitoring. I am requesting or suggesting that the applicant, again, as work is progressing, we would have Joe Thoreau come out to the site and make sure that we're not going too deep, or if we need to go deeper. He can come out there and kind of inspect the hydrology and make sure that we are truly creating wetlands. We're not just pushing dirt around. And so you'll see I have two separate stockpiles. We have one for topsoil, one for subsoil, which would be stockpiled separately. And so the soil scientist, Joe Thoreau, would do a couple different inspections, make sure that we're doing the right amount of excavation. And then lastly, once we start planting vegetation, he would come out again, inspect the vegetation, and any kind of, anything he wants changed, basically, we would do. So again, any disturbed areas would be loamed and seeded and replanted with some native wetland species. My notes include examples like sweet pepperbush, low bush blueberry, northern arrowwood, black chokeberry, red maple, viburnum. So we have a couple good suggestions of native wetland species. And overall, I think, I do think this is a big upgrade from the previous plan. We're going to be cleaning up the site quite a bit in that area. I guess, I'd be happy to answer any other questions.
I'd like to know what happens to
Oh, no,
This
is,
isn't a public hearing.
Not a public hearing.
no. All right, did you have something to start with, Paul? I know I still have a lot of concerns. My only issue, Dan, is just that it is so tight in there. Once you get there, there's such a tiny livable footprint by those two houses that, and actually, you look at it, it's really 4, because it's 2 duplexes. I still have a problem with that. I just do.
And my problem is in our regulations, section 6 really basically says there's no disturbance within a 25-foot wetlands buffer. And you still have those wells within, 5 feet of the wetlands. And we have houses that are within 25 feet of the wetlands. And we're not supposed to have in our regulations subsurface disposal areas within 100 feet of the inland wetlands or 50 feet of wetland pockets and intermittent streams. So that's my problem. I think you're really overcrowding this one little lot.
And I don't envy you, Dan, because percentage-wise, this is one of the worst percentage-wise of wetland sites that I think we've seen in quite some time. I mean, this just is not something we normally get. It's a tough one for you.
I completely agree.
Yeah. But I just don't see how you can have 4 families in that one tiny footprint of upland area. I mean, they're totally on an island.
Can I?
May I chime in?
Oh, go ahead.
Hey, just for the record, my name's Quinn Stevenson. I'm one of the owners of 647 Putnam
Yeah.
Pike. I understand where you're coming from with your concern about, the size of the yard, but I really think that's more of a consumer decision and not so much something that the Wetland Commission should be answering on. I think that we should focus more on what are we doing to improve the wetlands, because as they sit now, they're not going to be improved, and they aren't in very good shape around here. Because as the owner, the previous owners for years have been dumping garbage, and I've done so much work over here that you wouldn't even imagine. And I like Dan's proposal of removing the garbage and improving that wetland in the rear, because otherwise there's no incentive for us to do so. And I don't think, I don't agree with that either, but
the reality is,
You know.
it doesn't come anywhere near. I mean, you've got your wells where we don't allow. You've got things that are not within our specs at all.
Yeah, essentially, what's happening is you're creating your own hardship by trying to squeeze so much into such a.
Commission in terms of those minimum separation distances. But yeah, there's a 25-foot typical minimal no disturbance area, and then you have other minimum separation distances for septic systems, usually within 100 feet, no closer than 100 feet to a wetland. The primary structures also have minimum separations, but that's definitely where it puts it, regardless of the crossing with the
But
commission.
the reality is, though, that, no, wetlands, people may not understand, these things are not prohibited, they're regulated. But the reality is that this just doesn't come anywhere close to
No,
meeting
and-
anything. And we typically try to work with everybody to try to get something in, but
And-
there's no reason to create this other than that you want to create it.
Right, we typically don't give relief on setbacks unless it's a lot of record, right? He's creating these lots, so again, he's creating the hardship. It's not 2 lots of record that,
That we have to figure out how to make it fit.
right. He's creating these lots, he's creating the hardship.
I mean, if it's a matter of the well being too close, I'm sure Daniel and I mean, there's an alternative, I'm sure. I mean, is a shared well something that's, that Killingly allows or considers? I mean, that's a possibility. I mean, I could see that right between both houses on the property line.
Yeah, we've been coming to these meetings for several months, and this is the first time someone brought up
No, I think I've said from day one that I couldn't
some of
believe you
these
were trying to put those many houses
25-foot
on there.
setbacks and 100-foot setbacks.
This plan we've shown at least 3 meetings now, and there was never a mention that you asked us to get in touch with a well company and have them come to the site and Daniel stake out each proposed well and whether or not they would actually take on the work, which was not, we didn't move forward with that because it wasn't something that seemed like it was, you guys can make that call, but there was no mention of footage as far as from the wetland.
I don't mean to be rude or anything, but
It's right there in
that's
regulations.
regulation 6 of the wetlands regulation. It's not something we're making up. This is the wetlands regulations.
I understand, it's just this, I don't think this had been raised before by commissioners or by town staff. And again, my memory's not perfect, I could be mistaken, but.
Well, I do believe the chair mentioned it last month.
Yep.
About getting rid of one of these duplexes. That should be part of the record, that was brought up last month.
Yes, no, I definitely recall that. I do recall that. And again, as Quinn stated, the driveway is going to be the same, pretty much, if there's 1 duplex or 2 duplexes. If we're going
But
to
the driveway's going
build
to be
a
a
new house,
one-shot
we got to cross that
disturbance.
wetland. And, our alternatives is a significantly longer driveway with more impervious surface.
But the driveway is a one-shot deal. You've got people basically living in the wetlands here. by the time they walk out their door. Unless they.
I
they have the
mean, I
straightest
think
path
that would be
known
left
to
up
man,
to the
they're there.
design of the building itself. This is very much just a rectangle on paper, but, you know, you can see from the design of the driveway that most of the foot traffic and exiting and entering of the buildings would be in the rear, where most of the upland area, or the
Well, all 40 feet of it?
of the house.
I mean, what's the
In-
distance on there?
Well, last month, I also brought up that I wanted to see the proposed topography for the entire site plan, and I still don't see that on this plan.
I'm sorry, I missed that. Could you say that one more time,
Yes,
sir?
last month, I requested that all the proposed grades be shown on the site plan, and I still don't see all the proposed grades on the plan.
There was also a
Karina.
question about the basement that you
Yes.
just brought up, right? Because it's a full basement and,
Yeah.
yeah.
Well, given the slope, they would be walkout basements.
And
It would be walkout basements, drive in your car into the garage, you know. But I do remember you asked about,
dewatering areas were.
Footing
requested.
drainage.
Yeah.
correct?
Yes, footing, foundation, whatever, you know, I don't see any outlets for that, that was asked about last month as well. I don't see any of that on the plan.
Yeah, I mean, if I'm not mistaken, these are kind of like a slab on grade or like a raised ranch almost, right, Quinn? I didn't think they had foundation.
The
grids.
grade,
Just like
I
they were
think
gonna
the
drive
grade
in
is,
and-
they're gonna be walkout basements. Just the
How?
way that, the,
Yeah, I don't understand that.
what is it?
So,
Do we have, what's the time on it?
What's our time on this, Jonathan? This is,
we're up,
Or-
right?
we gotta
This
be
is-
up.
This is at the end of the time frame. In some cases, so this is a subdivision application, not a site plan application per se. So, you know, I have heard some attorneys before argue that if all parties agree to continue, if there needs to be modifications, then you can work within that time frame or work to another month. It's not the same as a site plan application per se, but that takes the applicant and the commission to agree.
There's very few projects in this town that don't need some kind of work, that we don't work with and try to figure out how things can happen, but it just doesn't seem like we're making a lot of progress on this. Yeah, you came up with some remediation, but I don't think, other than that, they've really done anything that we asked about. Amy? Oh, no, go ahead.
Well, just looking at it from a schematic standpoint, it seems that the applicants want to put in as many structures
Yes.
and as many, it's not like you can take these little outlined boxes and put them on to the land and, you know, it works. We're talking about a water system and water flows, and you've got a slope where you're creating an artificial wetlands, and you don't know, the rate of flow is increasing yearly, it seems like, with our storms. You don't know if that is going to be enough, or the water will continue going to the base where you filled in the wetlands.
Yep. But even the houses themselves right now, Amy, I think that didn't you just get an answer that they were gonna have drive-in basements, and then we're told they're gonna be
Be slab on grade.
grade.
Yeah, I
mean-
mean, I think there's,
A lot of room for improvement.
I think there's a lot of room for improvement. Like I said, some of the issues we brought up last month, I don't see addressed on here. And one of the biggest things is what was brought up by the chair about getting rid of one of these duplexes to make the site actually work much more efficiently. So I think there's a lot of work to be done here, in my opinion.
All right, I think at this,
I mean, whether they're
oh, go ahead.
whether they're slab on grade or you know, a walkout basement, I mean, that's really all just design. I mean, it's gonna come
No,
down to, like
not
you
in
asked
there.
for,
It's all the
the final
grading.
elevations.
No, see,
That's
that's
not
the,
the-
that's the problem, and that's what I brought up last month about showing all of the proposed grades on here, which I still don't see. So you have to understand what your foundation's gonna be, otherwise, you know, this really doesn't, this really doesn't give me any sense of how far into the wetlands we might have to go with grading, if we have to go into the wetlands with grading. You know, I don't see any of that information on here, which was asked
I don't
for.
think we would. But
How do you
I
know
mean,
that?
my point is, from whether it's a slab on grade or a, you know, walkout basement, you can either have a slab on grade and throw your plates down and frame away, or you can have a, you know, walkout basement with a 4-foot concrete knee wall. You could have an 8-foot you know, it's really determined by, you know, your site, you know, and I understand where you're coming from with
Your site is a lot more special than any site we usually see, and that's what you have to understand. We're not being mean. If you look back at the history of this
No, I'm
commission,
not.
we have worked to try to accommodate and find things for people and find solutions, but this one is tough.
I personally think that, you know, the slope of the site plays a large role into the water flow. You know, they're not, the houses are never gonna get flooded. They're never gonna flood.
Just
It's
as an example, we have a commission member who owns a property, and that developer wanted several lots, and we gave him one. And that's because the uplands were very difficult to get to.
Yep.
So we've done it, we've asked for one lot in the past. So it's not something out of the ordinary. And again, it's one of our commission members that owns that property that we made that
Yes.
decision on.
But now, forgive me, but you just stated that request was due to access. And now, the plan we're proposing, if we remove a building, it's still, in the past, it was access, it's not access in this case.
No, it's not just access.
It's that
The
you
access
feel
is-
that there's not enough space to comfortably reside in these buildings.
No, I don't think there is, not because of, not to comfortably
that's-
reside, the proximity to the wetlands becomes an issue.
Right.
And how those wetlands will be treated and respected or disrespected by whoever's living so much on top of them that they can't stay out of them if they try.
Well, why would they be disrespected if these people, you know, if they're, you know, people like you and me?
So ultimately, I think where the commission's getting at is the town of Killenly has a 200-foot upland review area. So any
Correct.
construction activity within 200 feet of a delineated wetlands edge is subject to review. Their regulations also point out essentially acceptable distances that the commission has the sole authority to consider from one application to the next. If you look back at the minutes from the July 6th meeting, particularly on page 8, most of the items that the commission members are bringing up regarding their current concerns about footing drains, the septic, the topography, and asking if one building would be more acceptable or there would be more opportunity to move those around were all mentioned at last month's meeting.
Rainey, I know that you were waiting to say something. I could tell the way you were looking. You are. Do it.
Well, yeah, no, it's not just that, you know, access to this upland island here, and, you know, obviously the access is going to be a certain amount of wetland alteration, but it's, if you were to downsize to one building, then it's not just about the separation of multiple structures you have here that are not currently meeting setbacks between wells. I don't know about those leach fields. I don't know what our regulations are, but that one on Lot A looks pretty close to a wetland edge. 50 feet, so that likely is not meeting
I can't imagine
setback
it is.
either. So it's about being able to reconfigure multiple of the structures on this building to come closer to meeting the setback criteria of the rules.
And the reality is.
And just to be clear, we're talking
this
about
is not a
buffers,
lot of
not
record.
setbacks. Buffers.
Oh, sorry.
But this is not a lot of record. This is just being created.
Now, wouldn't he?
Yeah, I mean, that's the problem I had. And to get back to Rainey's point earlier, that first alternative that we saw, you would have a wetland crossing, but you'd have a much larger upland area to work with. So, you know, I think, again, I think this needs some work. I think it needs to be thought out in a much better way, much more complete
Can I
way.
propose something? I know Jonathan mentioned the opportunity to move forward to another meeting. Is that correct, Jonathan?
Yeah, it's my understanding if all parties agree, we can move to another meeting. Alternatively, if the commission would like, they could, if they want, well, a couple options. An applicant could withdraw, the commission could deny without prejudice and ask to reset the time frame to allow for a new application. There's a few options here depending on the level of
I don't think
additional work.
We're not at the point of an approval, that I can see in
Right.
any direction.
To me, I look at this as being incomplete, right? I mean, I just don't see it as a finished product at this point. A lot of the issues we brought up last month were not addressed. So essentially, I'm looking at this as an incomplete application.
Daniel, can I ask you a question?
Yes, sir.
If you were to take this and put one house on it, not a duplex, one house, okay? That would reduce the driveway coming in correctly, because I bet you right now you're at 16 feet wide to support.
Yes, sir. Yep. We
So
could
then-
shrink the driveway in a little bit if it was one dwelling.
Correct.
Yep.
So we could drop that down to 12 feet. You probably wouldn't need to widen the driveway coming in either. So then we would be getting less disturbance, less everything by going down to one structure. And with
I
the
mean,
one structure,
The
we
existing
can't fit our-
driveway would still be shared. We'd still have to widen the first part of the existing driveway. But yeah, no, I understand the commission has a lot of concerns, which are totally valid. I apologize, if I miss something, I'll make sure I go back and read the meeting minutes very, very carefully. I did want to mention, in terms of proposed grading, again, I thought my plan was showing all the proposed grading. If the houses are up around 406, I have a proposed contour of 402. So we're chopping down the top of that hillside 3 or 4 feet. If that wasn't clear, again, that's my mistake. I did think I was showing all the proposed grading, but in any case, if I'm sure the applicant would be willing to grant an extension if the commission would allow, and then I will take another look at this. We can look at just having one duplex. I don't think we're going to get much farther from the wetlands if we only had one house or one duplex. We have room to slide side to side, but east or west, up or down, the houses, the structures and the septic systems would be fairly similar if we just even went to one single family house. We could shrink the driveway in, but I don't see the house or the septic system getting much further away.
I think you should also put a little more consideration into that back parcel that they were talking about as well.
Okay.
how much gravel are you taking out of there? If you're dropping this down, did you calculate that out?
I do not know. No one had asked me to calculate a cubic yards of excavation. I can certainly do that, though.
I don't think it's going to be a lot of material to be removed. Like I said, I mean, it's whether it's a slab on grade or a shallow, a slab with a 3-foot knee wall, concrete, like Dan said. I mean, that's how I interpreted it from conversations myself and Daniel and my partner, and my interpretation of the site proposal. But a few minutes ago, I was asking if I could propose to, if we could come to the agreement to extend to the next meeting, and I would get together with Daniel. And I could even go as far as to getting you a 3D rendering of, the final product of what we're actually envisioning to kind of, give you guys a better perspective or picture of how it would actually all come together.
Yeah, because if you come back with basically the same thing, I just don't see us approving anything close to what we're seeing right now. Is that kind of a straw vote here?
That'd be my opinion, yes.
I mean, percentage-wise, this is a crazy percentage of wetlands surrounding everything.
Yes.
This is not typical of anything we get. And I'm sure it's not typical of what you normally have to do either, Daniel, so. No,
It's a challenging site, I will say that, for
Yeah.
sure. For
There's a
sure. There's a
reason
lot
that-
of good land out there, but it's not easy to access,
There's
unfortunately.
a reason there was one house there. I mean, really.
Yes.
You know, there's,
What do you need from us, the motion to?
oh, do we have a motion
Well, I
to
think
accept
I think the
request to
family built the
extend this
house, but that's
for-
history, you know.
I'll make a motion to accept the, or to grant the extension to next month's meeting.
I'll second.
Motion's made and seconded to accept the request, to grant the request to extend this to next month.
That's okay, Jonathan?
And that should be okay, John?
It's my understanding that it's okay. I think we have a little bit of time if for some reason we had to do
Worst case, they could
do a
withdraw
special
and-
do a special meeting.
Okay.
I'll confirm with it, but I believe it is only site plan generally.
Okay.
That would be the one that more of concern. This also has an application currently with planning and zoning.
Planning and
It's
zoning, yep.
similar in terms of time frame. I will double check the timeframes, but if that's your motion right now, the worst case scenario, we would have to maybe meet for a special meeting
Yep.
if we had to do something a little sooner.
That sounds
Okay.
like a plan. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Thank you, and good luck.
All right.
And to
Thank you,
confirm-
everyone, for your time. We'll see you next month. Have a great evening.
And to confirm, Rainey was seated for that
Yes,
one? Okay.
yes. We'll have Rainey seated this time because, yes. All right, next item of unfinished business is application 26-1630, Groundwater and Environmental Services Incorporated, for soil remediation within wetlands to be backfilled with certified clean recycled aggregate, 39 Warregan Road. Want to give us a quick rundown on it?
This is the former Hutchinson property, also known as
Delta.
Delta Rubber. This is a remediation request for an area where they have identified soil that needs to be removed from the site. It just happens to be within and close
Yep.
to a wetland. I believe we have a representative from GES, Kimberly, I think is on, or Greg. And I can share the maps if they'd like.
I'm sure this is highly regulated by DEEP anyhow.
Yeah, Greg Flanagan's here from GES. Kim's on as well, if you had any
Okay.
questions. It's a pretty straightforward, shallow excavation to approximately 2 feet below grade at a former drain from the facility where it entered into the watercourse wetland.
Got a little bit of information on it last month. Like I said, I believe this is entirely DEEP regulated anyhow.
Yes, I'm sorry, this is Greg Flanagan. Can you hear me?
Yep, we can hear you, Greg.
Okay, great, thanks.
So I think this is what we're looking at is this green area, correct?
Yeah, yes, in the inset, that's correct.
Yep.
So is there actual excavation of like stream bank happening here, or is this just?
It's right along the edge of the wetland. I wouldn't call it the stream bank. It's marginal at best. It's actually full of invasive species where we're going. There's some knotweed and some other things in there, some honeysuckle, Morris honeysuckle, but it's not steeply banked right there. It gets a little, I think it's probably where the drain used to enter or entered and then eventually flowed into the larger area. It's just become a wetland over time.
It's actually almost in the ball fields, isn't it?
Yep, it's close to the Little League
Yeah.
fields in the sewer treatment
So
plant.
it's where it's still flat.
Oh, it's right. Yeah, it's pretty flat. I mean, it elevates, the increase in elevation to the south. The other side of the stream bank goes up towards the adjacent property to the south, yes. So the far side of the wetland.
Can you go over just kind of the restoration that's done after the material is removed?
Yeah, it'll be backfilled with certified clean fill, meeting all your requirements. And then there'll be some topsoil on top, and then we'll use the conservation mix that's called for by the town and the regulations. We could also do, if you preferred, we could do native shrubs in that area. There's several options that could work.
And is the excavated material going to stay on site, or will that be
It'll
transported?
it'll be transported for off-site disposal at a regulated facility.
Okay.
So it actually just sounds like part of what needs to happen.
Yeah, it's the LSP is invited. Kim can speak better to the Connecticut Deep process than I can, but yes, it's all under the site remediation regulations.
Is there anything else coming down the road anytime soon with remediation on that site? Just out of curiosity.
There are several other small excavations that are not within the 200-foot review area or the wetland itself, and Kim can speak to those.
Right,
just
there's
curious.
about 4 other, like Greg said, upland areas that are being excavated that had known historic releases. They're pretty generally small in area, just some spot excavations, but basically the client is looking to possibly sell this site and wants it sold with no liability.
All right, thank you. Anything else?
I'll make a motion to approve application 26-1630 as presented.
Second.
Motion's made and seconded to approve application 26-1630 of Groundwater and Environmental Services as it was presented. Any other discussion? Hearing none, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries.
Thank you
All
very
right.
much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Now we'll move on to new business. First item would be application 26-1635 of Edward J. Esposito for construction of 100 by 50-foot warehouse for storage materials at 79 Commerce Avenue. All right, give us a rundown, Jonathan, or is anyone here?
I'm not sure if Ed is here tonight or not. I know I did speak briefly with Killingly Engineering. The plan that was submitted as part of your packet was, it's unfortunately, it's a little more draft in nature. They are actually finalizing the wetlands delineation as we speak right now. The applicant requested to be received tonight, and they'll be having an updated map for you for next month that goes a little bit deeper on the delineation, showing the 100-year floodplain, and speaking a little bit more to stormwater. If anyone can recall, this is the old Killingly Glass property. I believe it's still owned by Killingly Glass LLC. There was a feed and grain store pretty close to this area. It's kind of a gravel parking lot. In recent years, it's been used as a laydown area for Connecticut Water and for other projects in the borough. This is Mr. Esposito, representing the LLC who owns the property, looking to build a storage building for the glass company for their trucks and lifts and things like that. There's currently no proposed connection to the sewer, which was one of the things we asked, but there is a sewer line quite close to the property that would have to be looked at, but ultimately it's pretty straightforward in terms of an area. It's an area that's been developed a few times
Paul was
historically.
just asking, is it more down where the electrical warehouse was, or is it
It's-
more where the feed store?
It's the old, it's right in front of where the old feed store was, the old church or feed store, depending on what you recall being in there. It's the old Killingly Glass building, still owned by Killingly Glass, I think, LLC, and Ed being a agent of that.
Our big thing would be the flood zone here.
So this is
Yeah.
significantly higher than the 100-year flood. It is in an area where we recently had some elevated 100-year flood areas, but there is some grading that's proposed kind of on the edge, and I too want to see where that outlines, but the information should be pretty good. We have brand-new flood maps for that area. So I believe all the information's there. The applicant just got a little excited to apply
it's
prior
gotta sit a month anyhow.
to, but it is just a matter of really receiving, I believe, at this point. The Planning and Zoning Commission has also received the application and are expecting an
So the
updated
time
plan.
can start.
Yep, it just started.
All right, do we have a motion to accept this, and then without sidewalks and public hearings and all the good things?
I will make a motion to accept application 261635 with no sidewalk and no public hearing.
Is there a second?
Second.
Okay, motion's made to accept application 26-1635 without a site walk or public hearing, and we would start action on it next month. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Okay, motion carries. Okay, next item would be application 26-1636 of Ryan Companies. Just to make sure, Amy, it might be better if you leave the room this time, just so there's no question. I think that might be safer. Okay, this would be construction of a new warehousing and distribution center totaling 1,288,220 plus or minus square feet on 556 plus or minus acres, consisting of 340 plus or minus acres for development, which includes a 76 plus acre conservation easement and a 216 plus acre proposed to be deeded to the town for conservation. Project includes associated landscaping, stormwater drainage improvements, parking, loading spaces, wetlands crossings, 23,058 plus or minus square feet of wetland disturbance, upland review area activity, and proposed mitigation measures, including 44,369 plus or minus square feet of wetland mitigation, creation, restoration, and enhancement located between I-395, Westcott Road, and Mashantuck Road, including several parcels that have been listed. Okay, do they want to present anything, or are we just receiving this? Oh, right, new faces. Give us your name and address for the record.
Good evening, members of the commission. My name is Evan Seaman. I'm a lawyer at Robinson & Cole in Hartford. I'm here on behalf of the applicant tonight, Ryan Companies US Inc. And this is an application, as you mentioned, Madam Chair, for a warehouse and distribution center, similar to the application that you considered earlier this year and denied last month without prejudice on July 6th. Since that denial, the applicant has submitted the new application before you this evening. As you recall, the motion to deny last month was without prejudice on the grounds that the applicant examine additional alternatives. As part of the application materials that have been submitted, there's additional information and commentary on the alternatives. In addition to that, the applicant is considering some potential design modifications and looks forward to the opportunity to address the commission next month with a full presentation. We do request a public hearing. Last application, public hearing was held out of public interest, and we respectfully request that a hearing be held again. That's it for now. I should mention that we do have team members with me this evening. Dustin Curran is sitting behind me from Ryan Companies. And then on WebEx are Dean Gustafson from All Point Technologies Corporation, Tim Madurko, and I think Abby Fadis from Langen. So they're available for questions, but we're prepared to give a full presentation next month. Thank you.
I think at this point, we'd just be receiving and having a motion to accept it.
Yes, I'll make a motion to accept application 26-1636 of Ryan Companies, no sidewalk and with a public hearing.
Okay, is there a second?
Second.
Motion's made and seconded to accept application 26-1636 of Ryan Companies without a site walk and with the public hearing, which will begin during our regular September meeting, which will not be our normal time because of Labor Day. Maybe we should get that date set just so everyone knows. It would be actually the second Monday, if I'm correct.
Yes.
Am I right, Jonathan? I've been
hold
wrong
on.
before, and will be again. I'm gonna chew my glasses. Labor Day's the 7th, it's crazy late.
So it would be the 14th.
I think so. We're very late this year.
Yeah, it is.
Yeah.
I believe you're correct, the 14th, yes. Yeah, it does not appear to be.
How does that work at the same time with P and Z? Because P and Z would typically be the second.
The P&Z is on the 21st.
Okay, all right. Yep, Labor Day's as late as it can come.
Yep.
Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye, 14th.
Yep, 14.
Thank you.
Thank you. All right, that one's all set. Next one is application 26-1637 of Mark and Karen Green for demolition of existing home and construction of new two-story single-family home at 6 Lawton Lane. So we're in the Alzad district. Welcome back. Oh, you're leaving. We're trading people. Amy, you're the voting person. He's heading out of the room. We're at the lake. We're at the lake.
Okay, I think we're up now. So, a proposed two-bedroom home with attached garage, Alexander's Lake, replacing the existing cottage. Just looking quickly, I don't think the existing footprint is shown, so we probably would just want that for clarity. But the elevation 251 is pointed out, Alexander's Lake being on the right-hand side of the proposed plan. As it appears right now, existing wall to be removed as per health code. Not sure, eventually we have to ask for some clarity on that, I think. But you have a proposed new drilled well and a proposed sewer lateral connection. Pretty typical Alexander's Lake for the Alzad zone. The homes will benefit from a maximum 50% lot coverage. The proposed home is 35% lot coverage. It notes the existing one was 31%. Options before the commission is to receive and schedule for public hearing, receive, schedule for site walk, or defer to staff. All of those are possible
Options.
options
All right, what do you
for
guys
this
think?
type of application.
Well, just because a commission member
Did the plans.
did the plans, I think it should be in front of the commission.
Understood?
Is that a motion to accept this without a site walk or public hearing?
That is.
I'll second.
Okay, motion's been made and seconded to accept application 26-1637 without a site walk or public hearing, and it would be brought up next meeting in September on the 14th. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. All right. Can you come back in? You can. We're very glad to see that 251.
Yes. Whoa.
You got it on there, very good. All right, next item would be application 26-1638 of Linda Ozier, construction of a single-family home, septic system and well within 200 feet of the upland review area at 309 Coomer Hill. All right. Gotta find this one.
We're just accepting this one too, right?
Yes. Yeah, this is new. Here it is. 309 Coomer Hill. Where is it on Coomer Hill?
This isn't across the Greg, is it?
No.
I don't think so.
Oh.
That was that part of that subdivision.
Yeah, if you're coming up the hill, there's a very dilapidated building.
It's right before Ledge Road.
Yeah.
There's an old barn.
Dilapidated building right there. That's
So
where.
it's basically at the
Yeah,
end.
so here's that existing structure
Oh, yeah.
that you're referencing. That's pretty much in line with the proposed driveway. Is a 3-bedroom home with an attached garage, private septic, private well, with the wetlands delineation right here. Most of the project is within the 200-foot upland review area. So,
Did
same.
anything jump out at you with this? And I'm thinking we probably won't need a site walk, because if that's right in the wide open, it's gonna be pretty easy for any of us to,
Yeah, I mean,
to go by and
you-
check that out.
You can pick it out. The only thing is just looking at the site plan. We should just make sure that these wetlands have been delineated recently, because that subdivision at this point is pretty old, and I'm not sure if they got these wetlands off of that subdivision yet.
Wetlands were delineated in July of 2026.
Okay.
You stole my glasses.
I can't read that even with my.
I got through.
Some of those are so bad that you need to take a picture with your phone and blow it off.
Yeah,
Another notable item is there's an existing well to be removed.
Okay. All right, do we have a motion on this one?
Motion to accept.
No site walk, no public hearing.
I'll second.
Okay, motion has been made and seconded to accept application 26-1638 of Linda Ozier without a site walk or public hearing for action in September. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. All right. Now we're going to move on to Old Killingly Pond. I believe we'll be hearing from you again soon, Al, so we'll get going. But first of all, update email from Geodesign and the draft letter to the state. Jonathan, you want to bring us up to date on those?
I believe that update basically points to they have been conducting some exploratory work at the low-level outlet, got some camera work done. They had put in temporary mats at one point in time to try to reach the lower level. Ultimately, they ended up working from the top with there was a large rock that had to be removed and relocated. They drilled it. They were able to get a line down to it and lifted it with a bolt. The mats, I have not been back to the pond. Still there? Still there. The mats are still there. I believe they're working on getting those removed from there. I'm waiting to hear the results from the camera work to see what occurred there. One item.
How long do you think it'll be before you actually hear something from them? Because wasn't this all a few weeks ago?
This was all a week and a half ago,
Oh, okay. It
2
wasn't
weeks
that
ago. But the timeline is still hasn't been updated. The timeline still tracks, I think, for an October-ish application time window. But that's I want to follow back up with DEEP in particular in terms try to hold a timeline here. You'll, as part of your packet, I included a placeholder letter. The intention of that placeholder letter, provided the commission agrees, hold on. Come on. There we go. So as titled, it is a placeholder response from myself on behalf of the Wetlands Commission, if you guys agree, that basically puts Connecticut Deep on notice. I know they're fully aware that we've have been looking at this. Our last month's meeting got some notification from the state, and we did have a meeting with some members of Connecticut Deep to talk about the status of the pond, as well as the dam, status of the pond, and our concern regarding the history of neglect on repairs and other dams in the area that also seem to be in a almost purgatory state in terms of partial breach without formal approval. The letter basically is pointing out not only the importance of the pond area and how that dam helps facilitate and protect that habitat, but also calling attention to the Eddy Prey Dam as well, the one that is in that weird status, which I know the state is fully aware of. They said they're waiting for the application. Well, I would like some little more urgency on that. But ultimately, we are asking to be put on notice of any changes, any submissions by the owner of the dam to the state, as well as asking the state to require a third-party review of any application that is ultimately submitted to them. And we reserve the right to submit comment as is allowed in that process. It's kind of just to let everyone know that we're watching, we're kind of paying attention. It is dated July 24th, that's when I wrote it, but I have not sent it yet. I wanted to get direction from you guys. I would update the date and look to submit it. We did receive one comment, I think, directly related to the letter that I read, asking to potentially add some information about economic impact. So that's up to you guys if you want me to include some element of that. But yeah, any questions or?
Yeah, I would disagree with the economic impact. That's not
I don't think that's our concern.
That's not a wetland issue.
Okay.
I kind of like it the way it is, to be honest with you, Jonathan.
This is very well written.
And I also think it's more important to get it out than to worry about adding a sentence here or there.
Okay.
I think that we need to act.
Yes,
Yep. I'm also
Is that
just.
a motion?
it is.
Okay.
Second.
Motion's made and seconded that Jonathan go ahead and get this letter out to Deep
Send it out tomorrow.
as fast as he can. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed, motion carries.
Are you, just out of curiosity, are you corresponding directly with dam safety on this?
So I've been copied currently on the update emails that include dam safety, but this will go directly to them and their review team. Copies of it also will go to our attorneys, both Rich Roberts, Ken Slater, but also Ann Katina, because she's more of our environmental one. And then a copy will go to the town council chair, town manager as well.
I was just going to see if, because I know a little while ago that Ann was on there.
Yeah.
Are you still on there, Ann? We could call her. I didn't happen to see if anyone else was, because it would be nice if we found out from Ann or May if...
Michelle's got her on speed dial.
Is Ann on there?
Yeah, she's on here. Yeah, she's
Put her on the speaker. Put her right here by my mic.
You gotta sit right.
Come sit in my lap. I was gonna call you out. All right, so you're not on speaker yet. Or yes, you were. All right, now hopefully you're here. Okay, go for it, Ann. Give us your name and address for the record, please.
Oh, my name is Ann Dauphiné. I live at 204 Wright Road in Danielson.
All right, give us an update on anything you may have heard from Deep regarding this.
You're breaking up a little bit.
Okay, probably because I had you at the mic.
Okay.
We were just curious if you had any information at all on any activity coming forth with Deep regarding this whole Old Killingly Pond situation.
there's nothing right now, but I'm trying to get a meeting together with the new commissioner. She was very responsive for another issue I had, so I'm working on that with Al Dufresno, who's helping me put together a letter for her. So I'm hoping that she'll meet with us.
He likes to talk, I'm sure he'll do that.
Yeah.
Okay, actually, Jonathan, would you copy Ann in this letter as well?
I can copy our state reps, and I will make sure that there is
Yes.
also a copy on the website.
Perfect, because we're sending a letter tomorrow.
And I'll reach out to Senator Flexer and Representative Stewart as well to see if they want to sign on to the letter. But my
Perfect.
letter is specific to have a meeting. I'm looking to have a meeting with regard to the Killingly Pond and have a sit down with you and anybody else who wants to be there.
Sounds good.
Okay, and let me know if there's anything else I can do.
Oh, we'll let you know. All right. All right, thank you so much, Ann. Yep,
You're
I know.
welcome. You're
Bye.
welcome.
Good night.
Bye.
Yep. All right. Doesn't sound like much, but at least it's something. At least it's something. Anyone else have anything they want to submit for that to try to get it to deep, or Hal, I can't imagine you don't have something to say. I can't imagine.
I just want to thank Jonathan on behalf of the town of Killingly on his letter that he proposed, and we think it's a great letter, and we really appreciate that, Jonathan, not just for us, but for the future generations of children to come, you know, that'll end up enjoying the pond in the future. So we appreciate that. Thank you. And
No problem.
We'd like to thank you too, Jonathan. That was very well written, and I think it's just what we need to send them.
yeah, absolutely.
Heavily
And I'm going to be
influenced
working.
by caffeine late at night.
Oh, okay, okay.
And I'm working on that letter. I just, started today to work on that letter. I'm going to get that finished, and we'll get that out to the Deep Commissioner. So, thank you, everybody, for
Thank you,
what you do.
guys.
Appreciate it.
Good evening, Ida.
Hi. Ida Barris, 1123 North Road, East Killingly. Again, thank you, but thank you from all of us that have been working to save the pond, because we've been working, and it's so nice now to have the support of this group and the town council. We really are appreciative of that. I also want you to know that Mae Flexer has been working really hard on this, and I believe she's spoken to the governor and to DEEP, and she's also, so if that can go out to her as well. I know that she's been really working on our behalf for that all along, so we want to be mentioning how appreciative we are of that. So again, thanks for joining us. We're so happy.
May not be a lot yet, but at least it's a start. I don't think there's much else we can do yet at this point.
In McDonald, 548 Valley Road. Yeah, we very much appreciate it, and obviously, it means something coming for the town of Killingly that then sometimes, if you're just a resident or something, you feel like you might get lost there. But I do appreciate this and everybody else who's been kind of pulling in the same direction now. Not saying you should change your letter in terms of, I understand that, economic development piece. I would say if it comes up in conversations, I think sometimes we kind of lose sight of, we get used to everything we have in town here, and but I think both the pond, the state's been kind of quietly getting involved in Killingly with the property up on Bailey Hill. They just had another acquisition. We have Ross's Pond, and I hadn't been there in years. You go down there, it's like, it's impressive. It's actually impressive, but we're used to it. Oh, it's Ross's Cliff, whatever, But it's impressive, and you start to look at all the different things we have in terms of like this sort of like hiking, water, sort of natural beauty in town. like, this is something that our town could be, you know, you kind of wonder, like, oh, what's our thing here? But this is something we could be leaning into, because it really is not every town that has what we have in these. And I think the pond is like a, you know, it could be kind of a home base for some of that recreation, you know, nice swimming, fishing, everything available. But but in conversation with the state, you know, maybe say, you know, we're starting to build something nice out here that we could be, you know, sort of leaning into. And I don't know where it's going to kind of shake out in terms of, you know, everybody's role in all this. But certainly, again, appreciate you stepping up here, and hope we keep that momentum going. Thanks.
All righty. All right, we did have some other correspondence too, Jonathan.
So
Both of them are from Killing Engineering.
Yep.
And I assume there's nothing we have to take action on at this point?
if you wouldn't mind, they're looked at as jurisdictional or non-jurisdictional rulings. They are subdivisions per statute. Those subdivisions should come to the Wetlands Commission just for you to look at them. Generally, both of these ones that are referenced do not contain wetlands. They are a 2-lot subdivision on 761 Bailey Hill, and then a 6-lot subdivision off of 169 Rock Ave, but it's entered off of Highview, which is in particular. I can pull up the maps for both of those.
Yeah, show us where both of these are, out of curiosity.
Do we have letters stating from the soil scientist that there's no wetlands, or we're just?
There are no wetlands shown on our soils map, but I believe both of them have been checked. I can ask for confirmation of those.
I
think we have to-
second that as well.
Yep. I can ask for clarity on that, and then if for some
Because it
reason
also
something
has
were
to
to
be
change, we would
200
kick
feet
it back
buffer.
to you.
Right.
Yep.
Review area, so.
Hold on.
I didn't know there were 8 lots left in this town that didn't.
There is very few areas that do not
No,
contain
seriously.
wetlands in Killingly, so.
Yeah, yep, yep.
So this is the 761 Bailey Hill Road
Right, where
one.
is it? Gotta place
This
it.
is right across from, I believe, the state's new acquisition, or pretty close to it.
Okay, so it's down by Tri Lakes.
Yep. The property is a unique U shape here, and they are splitting it in a logical spot to do 2 proposed.
Who's this at? Maybe
single-
if we know- give the
This is
name.
Belmont Homes, Rick O'Keefe, that is doing this one. These parcels, I believe, were split out initially as a first or free split, as I think like a transfer between the contractor and the original property owner, and now there's a proposed development in this area.
There's no wetland note on that plan?
There is no wetland note on that plan. I will ask for clarity.
'Cause there should be, just
Yep.
for the record.
Yep, I'll ask for clarity on that. It is up to you whether or not you want to withhold any motion at this time.
I withhold until we actually
Yep, I
saw
can get a
something on both of them.
confirmation from both of them.
But it's also gotta be, because they're building so close to the property lines, we gotta make sure there's nothing.
Yeah, it's within 200 feet of any proposed construction,
Yep.
not just on the property
Okay.
itself. Yep, that is true.
All right, and the other one is an expansion of Zadora Heights, I assume.
Yeah, not originally part of Zadora Heights, but adjacent to it, and I can pull it up. So that comes back to the 911 system. When the 911 system came in, and I'll probably be better explained maybe with this map. The existing parcel here has an area, some have referred to it as Rock Ave, some will refer to it Chicken Farm Road in that area, old laneway of sorts that exists here between Sherrill Ave and Lenz Ave, and it goes down, kind of lines up with Rock Ave in that area. That That area is, as indicated on the plan, says unknown status. Whether or not that is fully true, I'm not sure. We'll look at that, but that is how it's being proposed. So the proposed access comes in off Highview Drive, where there's a small, essentially access strip parcel that is coming in here. And let me just go to the next sheet. These are 6 lots. So previously, the applicant sought to do a higher density with a variance. That variance was denied due to lack of hardship. They were citing the sewer moratorium. The ZBA did not agree. The sewer moratorium currently is a little lifted, but where they are allowing for some connections. However, all of these have already been designed for septic systems up in this area. So, which is pretty common with a large portion of Zadora Heights. Actually, many of the homes also have in-ground oil tanks up in that area. But the you have the proposed cul-de-sac coming in and off Highview Drive. And I know one question has come up, not necessarily on a wetlands end, but in terms of ownership. That comes later. Usually it's built to town road spec. A lot of times in the planning and zoning and review, there might be a question of whether or not it's going to be proposed to go to the town or to remain private. Regardless, we're looking at town road spec. That's a separate request that would go to the town council at a later date if the applicant ever sought that. It more would be talked about at planning and zoning. But the important thing here, again, is in regards to wetlands. I do not see a notation here. We're relying solely off of the soils maps. The soils maps for the town don't show any.
I think, though, that we should have it on the record.
Yep, we can
In
ask for
order for
clarity
anything
from both of them,
Yep.
and then look to seek your guys's on that a ruling probably next month that based off something like that, if you'd like.
Yeah, I'd rather see that. So we actually don't have to do anything then?
You don't have to do anything right now. It is just a correspondence. They asked you generally to look at it and to render a
Get it
decision.
confirmed that it's really.
Yep, we can ask for.
I think that's important.
Yep, we can ask for clarity on that. We typically, when we look at like wetland soils, one of our defaults is also the soils maps that we have on file. It's a layer with on our town GIS. That data comes from Connecticut Deep. It is notoriously unreliable because Connecticut Deep typically will not include small pockets of wetlands.
There's actually an add-on to the web soil survey that is specifically for Connecticut soils.
Okay.
So you can be out in the field and you bring up that app, and it's usually very, very good.
The field maps?
Yeah.
Yeah, we use that.
Very good.
Yep.
All right. Then one of our last items then would be this.
I do have one other item in terms of correspondence commission.
Okay, bring that on first.
It is just simply a FOIA request. It relates to a previous application, so I can pass that out later if you want. It's just one for every commission member, or for you guys, or do you want me to hand them out now?
Yeah, go.
Okay.
Let's have it done. Mine's big.
In going through any FOIA thing, I'll just simply say, if commission members have any questions, just come see me. I'm happy to help you in terms of complying with the request.
Sounds good. I'm sure we'll be chatting about this later in executive session anyhow, so.
The FOIA thing is a little separate from that, but we'll be talking about the item as noted on the executive.
Perfect. All right, then for staff report, authorized agent application. We did actually, I believe, talk about it last month and tell you to go for it. It's application 26-1633 of the Connecticut Water Company. for that PFAS treatment building.
Mhm.
You want to talk about that a little or not?
We talked
You
about
signed
it
it
last
off?
month. There was a presentation by Connecticut Water. There was also a presentation made to Planning and Zoning. Both were deferred to staff, and that approval was rendered. I believe Ms. Brady gave the wetlands authorized agent one, and I acted on the planning one.
Great. Sounds good. Anything else for your report to us?
There is that one other one that you referred to staff on Hartford Pike
Yes.
is still pending for ZBA. So that one I have not rendered a decision for
Until we find out what's
until we
happening.
find out what goes on with the ZBA application.
That makes sense. Town council, Ed, tell us what goes on in the world outside of here.
Okay, we voted on Jared Brown to fill the vacancy from the passing. We voted on Jared Brown to take the vacancy from John LaBelle's passing. We passed a resolution to continue, or the town is officially taking on the access road at the high school for the emergency access road. So that's in
Good
the
for
works, and
you.
you guys looked at that last month, so finally something's gonna happen. We looked at a policy regarding downtown security cameras, or as long as they're within the budget that we authorized. We looked at a financial best practices review for the Board of Education and all town departments. So looking at to see if we can make any improvements as to transparency and efficiency and whatever. We also allowed for the funding to go ahead with the review, the environmental review of the old borough treatment plant. Okay, that didn't come on. Let's see, what else do we have here? With the sewer plant, there was a proposal by the consultants to start to proceed with a 75% increase over what we have now for the next 20 years, but the WPCA didn't act on it. There was also, Frito-Lay signed an agreement that they will not send as much flow, so we could use that for other entities. The low-level flow, they agreed to, and they modified the moratorium, so for small residential developments, those have been accepted, but when it comes to industrial or commercial applications, WPCA hasn't acted on that. The Westfield Ave Community Center, it's over a year delay. The lawyers are now negotiating with everybody to try to force the issue a little bit. So there was supposed to be some completion action as of June 25th, and I'll find out Wednesday night what the status of that is. The parking lot, there has been more paving. The staging area at the community center has now been paved, so that's going to allow for more parking over there.
Actually, that would be nice for voting day.
Yep, yep. DEP is working on the fourth rendition, the fourth area of the PFAS contamination. But there's also the Department of Health also has a separate testing for PFAS. And I don't know if the two really get together, but somehow there's a lot of action going on. And then you saw where the Connecticut Water is actually putting in a facility, so it's going to be mandated. They're in compliance now, but they want to do more compliance. That's that one. The Brickyard project is going to get going. That's been in the works for a while. The tennis courts at Westfield Avenue, the pickleball, that's been worked on. The town council authorized some capital funding over at the Housing Authority, allowed for 3 new chairlifts to be installed. And they have a big issue with the elevators, so this will help the fire department access the people to get them down to the access floors. And there was an issue, we had a semi-contract with a solar company to put panels up at the landfill, but they kind of reneged on it, and they went to deal with Pomfret on their panels, so there's not good relations there. So that's pretty much a dead project. And that's all that I have.
Well, thank you. All right, then at this point, we'll need a motion to go into executive session, purpose of which
So-
is pending litigation.
Just for clarity, so as the commission goes into executive session, you would have to invite in myself and anyone else you choose to be in it. So namely, I believe myself and the town attorney. I'm going to get the town attorney to join us, and we're going to update you guys on this particular matter.
Thank you. Okay, so,
I would like to invite them in for our executive session.
is there a second from one of you?
Second.
Okay, motion's been made and seconded for us to go into executive session pending legal review. And we would be inviting our town staff and our town attorney in as well. All in favor?
Aye.
Okay. Thank you guys for coming. We'll see you September 14th. Have a great holiday.
Thanks for all your serious work.